In the tutorial on reports, we demonstrated how you can select a set of fields, filter the records, and then export the data into Excel. But you can also create custom spreadsheets within Riva Trademark. By clicking either one of these buttons, you'll be bringing the data here instead of sending it out to Excel. You start the process exactly the same as if you were going to export to Excel. So I'll go back to the Trademark Reports tab, choose this option, and select and arrange the fields I want down here. So this time we'll sort by the renewal date, and then the company name, and then the trademark. Now I'll go ahead and apply a filter. We're going to limit the records to the ones where the responsible attorney is Robert Fibler. And now we're ready to bring these records into our spreadsheet. Now, here's one of the reasons that using the custom spreadsheet can be more useful than going directly into Excel. When we export to Excel, the records always begin in the very first cell. But on this page, the records will begin in whichever cell we currently have selected. So I'm going to select this cell, B3, and then import the records by clicking this button. Now I can format the spreadsheet using the buttons on the toolbars. Now we're not going to use every one of these, but you can see what each button does by pointing to it and reading the tooltip. So first I'll rename the spreadsheet by typing a name here, and then clicking this button. Next I'll select my columns and click this button to expand the columns to fit the text. And that looks good for most of them, but the classes column would probably look better if I wrapped the text within the cells. So I'm going to make the column a little narrower, and select the column again, and then click this button to wrap the text. I'd rather see the top of my classes line up with the rest of the data. So now I'll select the entire worksheet by clicking here where the rows and columns meet, and then I'll click this button to align the text at the top of the cells. I'm going to give my worksheet a title up here, and then I'll click this button to format the text. So we'll make this something nice and big, like 14-point bold. Now I'll select this row and make it bold. And I'll double-click the column edges to expand them to fit. And then finally I'm going to separate the records with horizontal lines. So we'll choose borders, inside horizontal, thin line. You can also apply formatting by right-clicking with your mouse and choosing from the options you see here, which are pretty much the same ones you'd find in Excel. So for example, you might want to insert or delete an entire column. Now before we check it in Print Preview, let's take a look at these options. Since there are a lot of columns here, I want to print this in landscape. But even in landscape view, it's probably going to be more than one page wide, and I don't like the way that looks, so I'll select this option, which will shrink it down to a single page wide. I also want the page number and the date to appear at the bottom of each page. And finally, I'll tell the system to always print the first 3 rows at the top of each page. I don't actually have enough records in our demo database to fill more than one page, so I'm just going to paste the same records into my spreadsheet a couple more times to demonstrate how this works. And now if we show the spreadsheet in Print Preview, you can see that the column names are appearing on every page. You can print the spreadsheet from here, or you can choose to save it out to Excel. And if you do, the options that you've selected here will be carried into Excel. So we'll give this a name, and yes, we'll open it in Excel. And now we can use the full power of Excel for extra formatting and calculating. You can also open an existing spreadsheet by clicking this button. So let's say a month later we want to run this same report again. To save some typing and formatting time, we could simply open the spreadsheet we saved last month, clear the data, and then import the current data. Another reason the custom spreadsheets are so useful is that you can add a second set of records to the same workbook. So far, we've imported the trademarks where Robert Fibler is the responsible attorney. But now I can go back to my filters and choose the trademarks where Sally Wallabaster is the responsible attorney, and I can paste those records into the same worksheet. Or I could create another worksheet in the same workbook. So I'll go ahead and type the name of the worksheet first, and then click this button to create it. And now I'll paste in my second set of records. And now I could format this worksheet the same way I did the first one. We're going to demonstrate custom spreadsheets one more time using some patent records. So I'm going to delete this worksheet. And I can't delete the only worksheet in a workbook, so I can either clear the worksheet like this, or I could simply create a new worksheet and then delete the one I don't want. So once again, I'll preview the patents, and I'll make it easy on myself by using the filter down here to pick Germany as the jurisdiction. And now I'll import those records here. Then I'll change my filter and get the patents from the United Kingdom. And one more time to get patents from the USA. And now I can format my spreadsheet. And finally, here's one more possibility. If you represent clients with both patents and trademarks, you can create a workbook with patents in one worksheet and trademarks in another.